Hello, everyone, and welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. Thank you so much for joining. To everybody that's watching this video today, we have a special pod episode. We have the one and only Duncan McGuire from Orlando City SC. Thank you, Duncan, for joining and for being here, Loud and Proud Orlando. I wanted to also thank everyone that's listening right now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and also to everybody that's watching on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and leave us a thumbs up. So thank you so much for your support. Duncan, how are you? You pretty much have had a huge impact to Orlando City. But I would like to start by going way back to your beginnings in the sport. How do you fell in love with soccer? Omaha, Nebraska. It was a home of football. American football. How do you feel in love with soccer? How important has your family been in the growth, not only of you as an athlete, but also as a person?
Yeah. Thanks for having me first off. And growing up in Omaha, Nebraska, obviously it's a big football state, and there's I played all sorts of sports growing up. Baseball, basketball, football, and soccer, and I really wasn't good at any of the other sports. So I fell in love with soccer just because it was the best sport that I could play, and easily fell in love with Creighton soccer, which is kind of like the only soccer team we had in Omaha growing up, which is how I fell in love with it. It was kind of like the only sports team I would consider Omaha having growing up. So that's how I really fell in love with the game, and my family has been the biggest support I could have had growing up. They were always supportive in what I wanted to do, and I always told them I wanted to play soccer, and they said if that's what you want to do, then we're going to support you all the way, and make sure that you can do that and put you in the best situation to do that. So they've been the biggest support for me so far.
You know, um, obviously your Blue Jays era. You played 3 seasons in Creighton. You made, what made you to decide to choose and commit to play with Creighton? And who would you say within Creighton was the person you learned the most, or maybe till this day you apply any advice you took to the pros? A lot of people have said Johnny Torres. Is that a name that clicks with you, or what would you say about that?
Yeah. So first off, the like I kind of said earlier, it was kind of I had season tickets at Creighton from when I was young, and I went to all the games, the home games, and watched the away games growing up for about like 5 or 6 years, and then I once I got an offer from them, I they were the only school I really wanted to go to, but once I got the offer, I accepted the very next day. There was no other place I wanted to be at, so I was so excited to go there and stay in Omaha, close to my family. And then yeah, at Creighton, the Johnny Torres, he was a assistant coach for a while, and then became the head coach once I got there. And he's been a big help when I was at Creighton, and still to this day he's a resource that I use. We talk fairly often, just talking about how things are going, back at Creighton or with me here in Orlando, and we stay together. A few other people that were huge in my development at Creighton was Ian Sarakin, who was our assistant. He now coaches as an assistant for Colorado. I got really close with him. He's been a big help. I also reach out to him often. He was very big in helping with my mentality when I was struggling with confidence, and it really helped, I would say, in the last season I had. And Aiden Reynolds, another assistant coach that we had, now coaches with St. Louis. He was a amazing help as well with tactics and the way I wanted to play. He helped me get in good spots on the field and really strengthen my knowledge in the attack, which was a big help. And it was a great support staff that we had at Creighton, which was amazing to have.
No, obviously, going into diving into the mentality, right? Obviously, Orlando City is a team with a lot of strong individuals, strong mentalities. But you have developed, I feel, some of the most competitive mentalities since you arrived into the team. From whom do you say that comes from? That drive comes from? It feels like you always maintain yourself motivated, even when you guys face adversity, like in the beginning of the year this year. Like if it felt like, and the whole thing with Blackburn, we'll dive in later on. You know, it felt like you still maintained strong. Where do you get that from?
Uh, I have to give that to my dad. He was always big in my. He was my coach growing up, and he was just big on my mentality, and he always made sure I was. Um, One thing he always told me that I still think of to this day is if you're playing bad, you can still give 100%, energy and effort on the field, which is one thing I always try and do. So that's just one thing that I've kept and try to emulate in every game is just 100% effort and a few times with Orlando, I feel like I've had some bad games, touch isn't right, but no matter what, I can give 100% effort and help defensively if that's what I need to do. So I'd say he's the best. He's been the best, when growing up in my development with my mentality and helping me become the player I am.
Fantastic. Now, obviously, 2022 was a breakout year for you, especially with Creighton. You won the 2022 Big East Conference men's soccer tournament. Then you won the Herman Trophy. How did it make you feel? Winning all of that with your school.
I mean, yeah, it was pretty cool feeling winning all that. Still bummed to this day that we missed out on the national
Yeah.
championship, but yeah, growing up and in Omaha, especially, and having that year that I did with my hometown team and getting close and making the city of Omaha proud was definitely very meaningful to me and it's something I'm never gonna forget. And my teammates and coaches, I know we're always gonna remember that. I still talk to some of my roommates and old teammates about it to this day, and we're still good buddies. And yeah, it was that was an unreal year, and I still want the national championship back, but I'm gonna have to give that to Abdi Salim. Him and Giorgio always,
Giorgio
they
Kachevsky.
give me crap, that I don't have a national championship. So it's all good. It's all jokes in the locker room.
Now, you actually, a lot of people probably don't know you play USL too. You play actually 11 game with Lane United. You score 4 goals, 11 games, 4 goals. For a lot of strikers, I mean that's pretty good percentage. How was it? How was playing USL developmental? And now that there's a USL Next Pro, there's USL One, USL Two. Like, do you think that's helping the development and the sport in the US?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's a big help. My experience in USL 2 was very good. It was in Eugene, Oregon, which was it's a very beautiful city. I went up there with my roommate, Luke Waters, and we lived in a little apartment together. And it was a good experience. Great group of guys, really talented team and competition as well over there on the West Coast. But yeah, it was a great experience. I feel like I developed as a player there. Also, I would have to say that USL 2 as like a league is I think I'd say like we have a good amount of leagues, like a perfect amount in the US. I feel like it's good for development because the league above is always looking down at players in the leagues below to try and find the standouts, and I think this is always going to help um, every league building up to the MLS, just finding players in the league below, and I think USL 2 is still a good quality, and you can find good players there. So yeah, it's I've had a lot of good teammates that played college that I know that play in the MLS now that also played USL League too. So I think it's a good development and definitely helps the players in the summer stay on their feet and keep their touch and be prepared for the season.
Now, let's talk to your arrival to the City Beautiful. I mean, how did you and your family felt when you heard that you were being drafted to Orlando City? And was there ever a connection between Johnny Torres and Oscar Pareja? Obviously, Oscar being Colombian, Johnny Torres being Colombian American. Was there ever that a connection? And how was that moment for you?
Yeah, it was a really cool experience. I had my my family and friends surrounding me. It was an unreal experience, and when I heard Orlando, I was excited. I mean, I've heard a lot of great things about Orlando, a beautiful city. I knew they had a good team, and I was really excited to get down here and start training. And yeah, it was. I think Johnny and Oscar like played together, so I think they have a
Oh,
good connection. So they know each other. Yeah,
they're
so
probably like, "Hey, I have this guy,"
maybe
Hey,
that's what happened. But I mean, if that's what happened, and then and that's what
Throwing out,
happened.
throwing out some rumors right then. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there, but yeah, I think they know each other, and they've. I don't know if they talk anymore, but I do know that they played with each other
Now, did you
a
follow
while ago.
Orlando? Did you follow Orlando before being drafted? Like, do you follow MLS at all? Before?
Growing up, I never really watched the MLS. I'd watch like the MLS Cup final, but I never really watched the MLS beforehand, to be honest.
Did you have like a particular team from Europe that you would say you would, growing up as a kid, you follow any particular team at all?
Um, I would when I could watch like Arsenal and Bayern.
Oh,
Those are just the two teams that I liked. Arsenal just because that's one team that my buddy and I started watching when we were like super duper young, and then Bayern, I liked the way they played, and they were like unbeatable and always league champions. So I thought they were a really good team. So, but besides those two teams, I really wouldn't watch much soccer.
okay. Now, obviously, you started with Orlando. You arrived, 13 goals, 3 assists, 2023. You came second behind Thiago Almada, South American sensation from Argentina. You were right there for MLS Young Player of the Year. Are you the type of athlete that focuses on individual achievement or collective achievement? Because that's typically a something that you ask every footballer, and Ronaldo may say, yeah, individual
Yeah,
achievement, it's what I thrive on. And you would maybe talk to somebody else, and maybe Alfonso Davies, and he'll say, yeah, maybe collective achievement for me is something that I truly embrace. For you, what is it?
Team all the way. Like I was saying earlier, like about the national championship, like I would trade my Matt Kerman for a national championship. Like I would trade that 100%. Um, I like those awards, like the Young Player of the Year, that would have been cool to get, but I don't do that for myself. I do that for the team to try and win games. I'm not going to be the Young Player of the Year or the you know Golden Boot. I'm trying to score goals
Okay.
to win games and get us in the playoff contention and to try and win championships. So I'm a team player. I always have been. I always will be. And it's fun scoring goals and all and celebrating, but I'd rather win games. So and win a championship.
Now, obviously, you came into Orlando, and there was a when you first came, there was a clear need for goal, and you pretty much took over, and you took the nine position, and you started, scoring and scoring and scoring, and it like it never stopped. And we started doing backflips, and the fans remember that from Nani, so the fans were like super, oh my god, like this guy's like flipping, um, but also they just signed Kara, Urgent Kara, and you know he ever talk to you, like, because you guys obviously shared. He ever talk to you, something about, maybe competing for the ninth spot, that he, maybe, you know, ever talk to you, kind of taking a backseat, from you, you kind of took the front spot, there was really no other option there at the nine, or was nothing said?
Nothing was really said. I think him and I had a good relationship. He was actually very helpful to me when I got there, and also when I had taken the starting spot. He was very helpful on helping me with like positioning, tactics, and I'd ask him questions about like how do I get better at this and that, and he'd be very helpful. So we had a good relationship, and there was never really talks about you know who has a starting spot or what, and there wasn't bad blood at all. It was just we were
Okay.
competitive, but it was good competitiveness during the time he was here.
All right. So looking at the 13 goals you had in 2023, in our intro, we have, for us at least, it was the best goal you've scored. It was a massive. John Rollins, which is my counterpart, which he couldn't be here today, which I want to say hello to John. He was saying, this is the goal that ended Michael Bradley's career, which is kind of sound kind of, being a fan of the national team, like kind of sounds kind of bad either way. But
Yeah.
it was a massive blow for Toronto. I mean, Toronto wasn't playing for anything at the time, Would you say that was your best goal, or do you have a different one that you say it was your best goal?
That's easily my best goal. That's been
Yeah.
my best goal that I've scored in the past like 6 years. By far, it was sick. I will say that. I mean, it was. I watch it back sometimes. Still,
It's
it's
pretty good.
easily my best. Yeah, I like it. That
That's
was
something
cool.
to put on your resume, like right on top, right there. Like,
I
hey,
mean,
check
yeah,
out this
that's
goal.
what you open up with.
Yeah, that's
But
right.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah.
So obviously, going into today, Orlando sign a new deal. You're going to remain a Lion until 2027. What does that mean to you as a footballer, a pro, for the club that drafted you to have such trust, and to kind of carry you on with a massive deal, and then also, kind of helping you out also when that whole thing with Blackburn happened?
Yeah, to stay in Orlando, it means a lot to me. And I was very excited to get that deal done. And obviously, Orlando drafted me and put a lot of trust in me from the beginning and in year one as well, and that meant the world to me. And um, along with the Blackburn thing, I wanted to try and go to Europe, but then the way I was received by my teammates and coaching staff and support staff and the city of Orlando when I came back, that meant the world to me, and that really showed that this is a special place, and I'm very happy here, and I'm in it's a system where I'm comfortable and I understand the goals we're trying to achieve. So I really felt at home when I came back and was welcome the way I was, and that's what I have to give credit to for the reason I wanna stay in Orlando and fight for championships here and continue to be a Lion.
Now, with the situation with Blackburn, I mean, I know it. I mean, what did you learn from it? That's number one, and two, would you do it all over again? I don't know. That was a question I always want to ask you.
What I learned from it is make sure you press submit yourself. But if I could go back and do it all over again, I don't think I would. I honestly wouldn't. I think everything happens for a reason, and I think that was a sign when it didn't go through. When I came back to Orlando, I think that meant something. And yeah, I'm kind of happy at the end of the day I didn't go to Blackburn.
Now, you mentioned Bundesliga, Bayern, Arsenal in the EPL. Obviously, I know all footballers want to get to play in the EPL. Now, would you ever? I mean, what would you say? What league in Europe, would kind of adapt more to your style of play, to your game as a striker?
Um, I would have to go with Bundesliga. I would say I feel
Uh,
like it's more of a physical game, and that's kind of what I'm best at. So I would definitely have to go play over there if I had the option.
Now, all your pals, well, a huge percentage of them in the team speak Spanish and Portuguese. Now, I'm sure you've learned some Spanish by now. Will you ever consider, if the bread's good, consider playing like in South America or Mexico? You got Memphis Depay going into Corinthians now. You got, some, what's his name, the French guy, playing in Tigres. You know, would it ever intrigue you playing there, or no? Your goal is just, I won Europe.
Um, I wouldn't say I ever aspired or right now aspire to play in South America at all. Um, and then for my goals, it's right now I'm just focused on Orlando. I'm not really focused on Europe. That opportunity passed, and now I know what my next 3 years are. So I'm just kind of focused on Orlando right now.
Okay. Now, you represented, obviously, the UN's youth national team under 23 in the Olympics. When you first heard, and you and your family heard, that you were going to be, playing the Olympics, one of the biggest stage for the sport. How did that make you feel? How did your family felt? And what experiences do you take from representing our country?
Yeah, first off, it was a unbelievable experience. When my family found out, they were over the moon. They were more excited than I was. To be fair, they were kept wanting to call me and ask if there were new updates about when I leave and all that. They were wanting to know everything when I knew really I would just made the team is all I knew. But they were really excited. They were happy for me. And, growing up and watching the Olympics and major tournaments for the U.S. and then being able to compete and be a part of it and represent the U.S. meant a whole lot to me. And yeah, the experience itself, it was unbelievable getting to play with a bunch of amazing players and people as well. Yeah, it was something I'm never gonna forget. And at the end, we wish we could have done better, and we felt like we could have. But at the end, it's something I'm never gonna forget, and it was truly unbelievable.
Orlando City and the way carry yourself and every single player on the team. You guys seem like a very tight group. Yes, a lot of people speak different languages, but I mean, it feels like there's a lot of harmony within you guys. You guys are focused on a common goal. When you first came in, who do you immediately connect it with in the well, and maybe in the club, or in the team?
Yeah, coming in, I'd say right away I was connected with, as you would expect, the English speakers primarily, like Jack Lynn and Mason Sadahar, Adam Grinwis. Those guys were all right by my locker, so I really got attached to those guys early on and became good buddies with them. But and as you were saying, before the, even though a lot of us speak different languages, it's actually like it's a great group of guys. Like probably easily the tightest team I've ever been on. Everyone's friends with everybody. Everyone's joking with everybody. The South Americans can speak enough English to get by and make jokes with us, and we can get by enough to make jokes with them with Spanish. So yeah, it's a good group of guys, and yeah, we all share a common goal and we're all bought in. So we're excited to see what we can do with the rest of the year.
Now, after the obviously 2023 season, in which Orlando ended up being second in the league, there were a lot of expectations with the team. Some pundits even say that Orlando looked like a supporter shield contender, and there were obviously some results in the beginning that kind of hinder that expectation, especially in the beginning. What was not working at the beginning, and how do you guys turn it around? And the reason why I said turn it around is because y'all are sitting 2 points away from the fifth place in the East. And to me, at least, and at least to me and maybe John and Paola, which are my counterparts, we always talk about, you guys look on in sync to turn this boat around. Um, what are now your expectations for what's coming next?
Um, so yeah, obviously, kind of like how last year started, we didn't start off too hot. We were dropping points at home, which we hate to do, and we were doing too often. And this year we were doing that for a lot longer this year, which makes it really hard and to even get close to the points that we were at last year. But what we expect from the rest of the year, we expect to continue to fight and win, a majority amount of the rest of our games and put us into a spot where we can host playoffs. And we want to be able to have the home field advantage. And I don't think we're going to be. Well, obviously, we're not going to be supporter shield contenders because I think we statistically can't. But
Yep.
I think once we get to playoffs, we want to show teams that we're the team that we are last year and even better. And I think we want. I think teams are going to think of us as an underdog in the playoffs, and if they want to think that, then they can go ahead and think that. But I think we're on pace and starting to hit our stride right when we want to. So I think we're right where we want to be right now.
Fantastic. Now, obviously, there's you guys had a massive year last year. Obviously, like I said, like I was mentioning, second in the league. But this year, there's been another team in Orlando that has been having a pretty huge year. I don't know if you've heard about the Orlando Pride and the Orlando Pride. Have you guys been following closely? Have you been following any closely with the women's team?
I don't know about closely. I know they're undefeated. I'm pretty
Yeah, I
sure.
know.
I
Yeah,
know they're doing really well. I think they just beat Gotham,
yeah,
maybe.
Gotham. Yeah, yeah, Gotham.
I am
There
paying
you go.
attention. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's good for them. I mean, that's huge. That's huge for the city, and to be undefeated at this time of the year is very impressive. And I'm hats off to them, and I hope they can continue it and get a championship for Orlando.
Now, the team is ready to face New England this Saturday. What are your expectations on the game? What can you tell the fans?
Yeah, we're not happy with how our performance against Sporting KC went. We feel like we battled back against Nashville and really showed where we're at attacking wise and defensively, and I think we plan on continuing that and getting those 3 points in a very strong fashion. And I think we're ready, and I think the fans are going to get a good game from us on Saturday.
Fantastic. Now, I don't know. John wanted me to ask you this question. There's a nickname that he heard. Apparently, they call you the Holland of the Heartland. Have you heard that before?
I've heard that. I heard
Is
that.
there others
A
that
while
maybe we
ago.
don't know?
I heard that one a while ago, like in college, like
Yeah,
3 years ago. So yeah, I've heard that one for a while. So
yeah. That's
it-
that's pretty amazing.
it's funny
So
that it just continued over here.
that's right. Now you have to. I mean, if you celebrate like Holland, it'll be hilarious. I mean, it'll be the cherry on the cake. We feel, you know.
I'll see what I can do tomorrow.
There
No,
you
not
go.
tomorrow. Saturday.
No, well, I want to
Afterwards.
thank you. I want to thank you, Duncan, to for being so kind. Accepting to come to the pod. We hope to have you again here soon. Hope you enjoy the interview. Is there any final words you would like to say?
No, I was going to thank you for having me on here and giving me your time and yeah, excited for the future with Orlando and hope we can get a trophy at the end of the year.
Well, I want to thank everyone that's watching right now. Make sure you check us out on all social media. We are Loud and Proud Orlando. Thank you, Duncan, again. And as always, you want to say it too? Vamos, Orlando.
Orlando.
Vamos, Orlando. Take care, guys. Have
I'm
a
good.
have a wonderful day.